Hello, everyone. Welcome to the YouTube Model Builders Thursday night general hangout. Thursday's hangouts are for the general discussion on model railroading that we all can set a topic to discuss for the night. Thursday's hangouts are the proud sponsor of the Tuesday night presentations, the YouTube Model Builders, eMag, and the YouTube Model Builders live show. I want to say thanks for everybody joining in tonight's show. And here's your host for the night, Johnny Reb of Southeast Rails. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. And welcome to the Thursday night YouTube Model Builders live show. Last one for the year of 2016. We'll be starting a new year here in a couple of days. I want to say welcome to Newcastle, Dave, Bill, Andy. Hey, we got a new guy here, AJ. He's on the panel in the chat at the same time. Okay, he's multitasking. There's Mr. Sam. He just come in on the panel. Want to say hey to Dave in the chat. Demo Jester, Al, North Star, Paul. Hope y'all doing well. Training Room Gary. Well, we're fixing to go into a new year, so I guess we're going to see who's doing what. Going to start off with Dave here. He got himself a rather interesting Christmas present, I guess you could say. Hello, Dave.
I think interesting probably downplays that. I think all of us are envious. I know I am, so.
Yeah. He must have had to step out for a minute.
But if he does get to show it to us here in a minute, nobody tell his wife. So we got to keep this on the lowdown.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I just had to reorganize.
That's okay. What you got there, Dave?
Decided to go out and buy a 3D printer. Let's see if I can get this a little. Damn it. Sorry. Trying to make adjustments to this at the last second. No, I ended up purchasing a 3D printer actually 2 days ago. Got shipped out of California. I don't know how it made it here in 2 days, but it did. So decided to I've got so many parts I need to purchase for the ON30 layout, detail parts, that I'm just gonna learn how to use CAD and print up my own stuff.
Are you your idea to make a lot of this from scratch, or are you gonna try to take other products out there that you need more quantity of? Or I'm sure it's both, but
Pretty much both. I mean, I have found some files on one of the websites that does have some stuff like Victorian furniture and oh god, all kinds of stuff that I found online, files that are already there, barrels. I even have a complete Chevy LS3 V8 that I'm going to be doing that is fully operational.
not in HO scale. It's not. What scale?
No, not in HO scale. No, this is actually in 120. No, what is it? 1/12 scale.
Somebody used to have a kit.
They still do. I see Hobby Lobby's actually got one of them
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, it's gonna be something like that. I mean, you know, and I'm gonna buy the hardware to put everything together, the magnets so that the heads come on and off, and all the pans come off. It has a little motor, where the starter goes. It actually makes it run. There's also another kit here that I'm thinking about doing. I'm trying to figure out how much I'm going to need for filament. That way, I know how much to purchase. But it's a complete chassis drivetrain, Toyota, the 22 RE series with a 5-speed manual transfer case, drive shaft, rear axle. It's a whole complete drivetrain, but that's for one of my other hobbies. But it's just there's been a whole lot of stuff I've been looking for, just a few things to play with. Unfortunately, with the I ended up purchasing the DaVinci 1.0 Pro, and it's got really good reviews. It has a few hiccups, which I'm sure I'm going to run across sooner or later. But the one big hiccup is it comes with a small cartridge like this, and they're proprietary. These run about 45 to 50 bucks, depending on where you want to get them. But there's only 600 grams of filament in these, and
Are
so
they PVA or ABS?
this one I believe is it's non-ABS, whatever the PBA or PLA, whatever they want to
PLA,
call it.
that's it, yeah.
But I'm going to convert all my stuff over to ABS
Yep.
until they can get the stuff figured out for like resins and stuff like that. But I have to. I've got a file I already downloaded on my computer, which now I have to get hooked up into this. So it's a hanger that goes on the back side, so that I can buy spools for 20 bucks or so, that are like 2.2 pounds or 1 kilogram, and I can hang it on the back. And I mean, it's like half the price of that cartridge. So
We're probably a wider selection of materials, sizes, colors, etc.
yes, a whole lot more colors, definitely.
Mike Slater's asking if it had. Does that model have a heated bed
Yeah,
with it?
yeah. This one, the Pro, has the heated bed in it, which, as you can see, I'm still unpacking it. Still got styrofoam in there, so I haven't got to the rest of it yet. Um, but everything, this will do ABS and PLA both. It only has one head, which, I guess is good in my end of it because I'm still a rookie with this stuff. But the nice thing is it's wireless, so I could actually set this across the room and I don't have to worry about it. It's out of my hair. So,
And once you
Yeah,
see
what
the
size?
job to it, sorry, Johnny, go for it.
What size working table do you have? How big of parts can you do? How high? Or do you?
7.8 inches cubed.
Oh, okay.
What's the
So,
difference between that model and the 1.1 Plus?
I've looked at the two models too. There's the micron size is one of the criteria. I think that one goes to 100 micron.
let's see if I can. Uh, Shoot, I have to bring the website back up, but I can tell you here if I bring the web page back up.
Oh, this one says it has a 7.8 cube build volume, uses ABS and PLA, Wi-Fi connectivity. Just about what
I think the 1.1 is the newer version that's coming out, or it just came out.
because I'm thinking of bidding on this one. It's on eBay. Right now it's $192.50.
Right.
492.50 for the non pro.
Yeah, 1.1 Plus. And I'm thinking seriously about bidding on it.
Oh, I was about to ask you where that price was. I found this non-pro version for around 300, but I think the pro is probably worth the difference.
Well, most of the pros that I was looking at are range just under 400 up. This one is $739.
Yeah, the difference in the Pro and the standard in price is about $150 MSRP. So the Nod Pro only does ABS. It looks like that seems to be one of the criteria.
Well, this one does both the ABS and here, let me bring it up again here. Does ABS and PLA, Wi-Fi connecting.
Oh, the DaVinci 1.1 Plus. Okay, yeah, that's got a little bit bigger of a
Table.
screen that's here. The LCD screen is actually in the center. It's a little bit bigger. It does pretty much the same thing as what this one does, pretty much.
Yeah, the 1.1 Pro or the 1.1 Plus probably has the standard DaVinci 1.0 does not have wireless. Does have the same print size. Does not look like it has. Does seem to have the same print micron quality, but it does not seem to have a heated bed, or I don't see that. And I think a printed bed would be. I would definitely want a printed bed.
You mean a heated bed?
Yes. Yeah. Whatever I did.
Yeah, you really need to have a heated bed. You really do. That way your part, you can mold properly. It doesn't warp. Problem with the aluminum beds is you need to put down either their flex tape that they have to put down, but a lot of guys are using, and I don't have a roll of it here on my desk for once. I don't believe it. The blue painter's tape. You can actually use that on the aluminum bed, and as it's printing, that first layer, it'll actually stick to the painter's tape, where if you don't put anything down, it won't stick to it at all, no matter if you put hot glue, or not the hot glue, but the Elmer's stick glue, and stuff like that. It won't adhere and hold to the beds. So painter's tape seems to be the cure that everybody is using.
Also, Mike said that so PLA will not glue with model cement. You will need super glue to glue parts.
Well, if you use PLA, you can also weld on. Works great.
Weld on.
Yep. I use a lot of weld on 16, but I also have weld on 4. Works great for either the PLA or the ABS.
But I have to say, I've got to where I'm not a big fan I'm not a super fan of super glue these days. Everything I did 2 years ago has got so brittle that I've done with super glue. One of the few things I'm still doing with super glue is trees, because I haven't found a replacement for it, but I generally don't like super glue.
No, I don't either. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's like CA. It becomes brittle.
Yes, CA and super glue, I have the same issue. They're essentially interchangeable terms, even though CA is not necessarily super glue. It's a brand. That's a marketing thing to say super glue, but all the CAs all get brittle. So,
CA in the gel stays pliable. That's the difference between the textures of the two. The gel will stay pliable.
And I use the gel when I'm doing trees. And
well, we know who that's not.
Yeah, this other one I was looking at here, it has a 7.8 cube with a heated platform. Runs a 0.1 to a 0.4 millimeter layer thicknesses. Use a 1.75 millimeter filament.
Right. Which, this one here, you can also change the tip from a 4 millimeter. You can actually change it out to a bigger tip, and you can run the 3 millimeter filament as well.
I imagine you probably could with this one too.
That I mean, the 1.1 I didn't pay too much attention because I don't need that bigger screen, and I was looking to stay at $500 or less, um, and that I didn't want to spend a whole lot on my first one. So
I think
if
for the Buddy, I think that's an amazing printer. I mean, even if you don't take money into account, to get anything that, and I've looked at these numerous times, from the M3Ds to some of them you build yourself, that come in kit form, etc. I've looked at a whole bunch of them, and I have not seen, and I could be corrected on this. I mean, I was wrong once in 1993, so it's entirely possible. I have not seen anything any better without getting up close to 2K. Until you get up into that, until you make a pretty big price jump, I haven't seen the significant benefit.
Right. And see, that was the thing. I mean, that 1.1 plus. I mean, it was listed for $699.95. And that's why I was just like, this one here was listed at the same price originally. And I got it for a whole lot less. So I mean, it was basically a no brainer. And this is actually almost the top of the line. I mean,
Trademasters TV's done 2 or 3 episodes on 3D printing, and that fella there who's talking about his 3D printing efforts, he's using that XYZ printer or the Da Vinci. Looks like he's using the 1.0, not the Pro version, on the Trademaster series where they're talking about it. He's done motor mounts inside of brass equipment, etc.
right. Yeah, see, I still haven't even cracked open the manual on it to read it yet, and that's the next step here, and probably to be tomorrow. So start setting it up, figuring it out, pull that SketchUp program up and play with it a little bit, and see if maybe I can get it to print that hanger for the back of it, and just play with it a little bit.
Yeah, get a copy of Mesh Lab too, play with it, because I have seen, and I'm definitely not a pro. All I've been doing is playing a little bit recently too, but I have seen some things that Mesh Lab seems to be quite good at. I think I would probably use them interchangeably. SketchUp and Mesh Lab, both are free. So,
Does that have a USB port on it too?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
you can hook it up USB cable to your computer, or you can go ahead and run it Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, USB, Ethernet.
but once you send the job to it, then it's hands off. You can send the job to it and shut the computer down. So wireless would work fine in that capacity because it's going to send the job. Once the G code job has been sent to it, it's going to drop the connection and the printer's going to start doing its work. So I don't see any disadvantages to using wireless.
No, I mean, there's, I mean, it's like anything else wireless. I mean, you got to make sure that it connects. I mean, that's the biggest thing. If just long
Well,
as
you
make sure
download
that.
files onto a flash drive, you should be able to plug it in and run them off the flash drive too.
Well, that's the one thing is thumb drives won't work on this, but in this back panel here, one of the other guys that I've been watching a lot of video on, 3D. God, I can't remember. He's from the UK, but he does a lot of video tutorials on the Da Vinci, 3D printer maker or something like that. He accessed this back panel. There actually is an SD card slot in the back that they don't tell you about, but you can actually put them on the SD card and install that, and then run your program off that.
Huh. Now this one includes a flash drive goes with it to put programs on for reuse.
Yeah,
So
3D.
Sparky's
print
asking
reader.
about the PLA or what have you that you buy for $20 a roll. How big of a print could you, or how much of actual product could you get out of a roll? I know you don't know that yet, but I'm sure you've had to look at that so far.
That would really
Yeah.
depend on what you're printing out, how big it is, how much is
Yeah.
detail involved,
Well, sure.
Yeah. Let me see if I could bring up this picture real quick.
Which there's not a lot lost. So I mean, you're you know every bit of filament you use is in the production of your of your model of what you're creating. So
Yeah, X number of inches used to X cubic inch size.
what's up, Troy?
Hey, Troy.
How's it go? How's it going?
Good.
There you go.
Here is, let's see. Shoot.
Plus, you got to take into account that's kind of like a CNC machine. You're going to waste a part or two just getting the setup done on it.
Now, to do this is that 22RE motor I was telling you about, the little Toyota one. There's a drive shaft that goes on the back, and then, of course, you know, basically almost like a Ford 9-inch axle. It took the guy, he said, to do all this, if he would have done it one color, it was less than one spool of filament, which is 2.2 pounds. So you figure these are only 600 grams on these cartridges. I don't know what the conversion is from grams to the poundage wise, but I mean, on a spool, I can make it for about $20. You know, not including the hardware to put it all together, but at least for all the plastic parts. And it's a heck of a model.
So compared to HO scale, for example, I mean, you could print, quite a few pieces of rolling stock or quite a few structures for one spool.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the one thing, it's going to be nice. Shoot.
But I don't think that 3D printing is that conducive to outright model creation in its entirety right now for the units that we could buy for home. You could buy from Shapeways for a pretty penny, some cabooses or caboose or whatever, but they're not real conducive in quality and in granularity to produce an entire. It's mostly detail parts, and you could print boxes of detail parts off a spool. So
yes, yeah, and that's why I said, it's by the time I added it up in my head, and I'm like, I'm gonna spend probably $4 or $5 grand easy on these parts. It just makes more sense for me to go ahead and just print them off myself.
Yeah, Sparky was saying $20 would build a house, a car, in HO scale. Imagine
definitely.
You could probably build several houses and probably a bunch of cars on one spool.
sure.
As long as they're all one color, then you can go back and paint it.
Yeah, that's not exactly real conducive to building a structure. Miles has done some 3D printed interiors that set right down into the structures. That worked pretty well, but I think the texture that it leaves may not be perfect for, you can't recreate brick or lap siding or, anything like that,
No.
you can't get the detail for that. So, yeah, it's great for detail parts. It's great for things that have a rough texture. Or detail parts where you can file them down.
Yeah, you will, even on the professional machines. Because we got 3 girls here down south of Atlanta. They do commercial printing for the trains, doing details and all. And when it gets kind of big, you will see each layer as it goes around. It's not really bad because you got to go by the resolution. That's the resolution. You will see those little lines, and what they do is they have to sand them off. Doesn't take a whole heck of a lot, but still, that's another added thing to parts. If they're big, you're going to have to sand that line out of it to get a smooth finish.
Or fill it. They have a paint material that's meant to fill it, self-leveling. But if you're trying to do that to a barrel or something that's round, that's going to be difficult. But Miles says that he paints some kind of like MEK or something, a solvent, and he paints that solvent on, and it softens the material up enough that it basically kind of levels the, that kind of humpiness to it off.
Yeah. Tony's got here. Yes, but when you don't know how to design the objects, what is the learning curve? Well, that means you got to learn CAD, Tony. And that
Yes,
can
you
be
do.
a little bit on the difficult side.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I've been trying to, find people to help me out. My son's girlfriend, fiance, whatever you want to call her, she's going to come over and help me out with the CAD. That's why we were looking for an easy one to use.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I need, and you can see. I mean, there's rough edges on this, on the legs, on the dining table, and on the chair here. But it wouldn't take much, just to
Yes. Smooth
sand
it
it down, smooth it up real quick.
A little belt sander.
So yeah. I mean, it's, and this is already files that I've already downloaded into my computer. So, I mean, all this stuff here, I could start printing out. You could see some of the across the tabletop here. You could see the Mars from the print head, or the lines or whatever you want to call them. I mean, just, smooth them out real quick,
Plus, you
but
got to look at the part that you're printing. Because the
right.
girls went over this too. You got to look at that because some parts print, you have to print them upside down.
Correct.
Other parts, you have to print them sideways or whatever. It depends on what the details are, how far they stick out. Because you're printing with a hot plastic type material. If it goes out a lot far enough, it will start drooping on you. I mean, you can print in supports
Right.
to hold stuff up and then go back and you cut those off later.
Well, here's one that I really wanted to do because, it's right up my alley. It's in 1/48 scale and side water tanks. It would fit in perfect with the ON30. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This would be $8, for download the file and that. And I'm like, okay, just out of curiosity, let them print it. You're at $326.
Wow.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, but then all of a sudden it's like you look at all the print that they're doing here, and I'm just like, well, that's a lot there. That is definitely a lot. And so,
Yeah.
but for $8, yeah, I'll buy the file and I'll print it out myself, and I'll probably go through half a pound of filament on that, so, which is, that's fine. It's 115 millimeters wide by 207 long, by 72 deep. From side to side. So yeah, it'll fit on my bed, no problem.
Yeah.
All of it at one time.
Yeah, Mike has made the comment there are a lot of websites that share 3D card files for free. So yeah,
I found more of them that are costing $1 and $2. Hardly. This is the only one that I have found that actually does it for free. Was the Thingiverse.
Yeah, Thingiverse has all kinds of course, most non-modeling related, but just all kinds of random stuff. But I'd pay $1. You got to figure your time, so.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody designed that, I'd pay $1 for it too, but just to get started, get this thing rolling. Yeah, I'd like to keep it as cheap as possible if I could, but we're going to see how it goes. New toy, new experimentation. I get to learn a couple of new things. We'll see how this works.
I'll tell you what, Sparky, I'll bring it up at the next team meeting to see what we could do about maybe having a place where people could drop files in for 3D printers or even for crickets, or if they got their own cutters where they can Oh, what am I trying to say there, Andy? Like Miles the Scout, where he cuts out the wood
Yeah, he's
parts.
got a laser cutter.
Yeah, laser cutter.
I just bought a CNC router, and it also uses shareable files, so we could. And I've got a place where we could share it, so we could hook it to the YouTube Model Builder site to share files. So that would be good for the community. And since there's so much talk, and we've already done some sharing, I've got some files from Ed, and I've been playing with those as a good starting point. So and a lot of us are getting more and more into this, and buying these machines. So.
Well, and that's one thing I figured. If I can't pick up on the CAD, somebody like Ed is very, very good with that SketchUp.
Yeah, man.
Maybe we might be able to do some horse trading. That hey, look, you need stuff printed. I can't design worth of crap. Do me a favor. Here we'll play back and forth. You design it, email it, I'll print it, I'll send you some. It just or if I need something done, that way, just trade it back and forth. I mean.
Yeah, but I think Ed quit riding horses a long time ago. He got tired of getting saddle sores.
You beat me to it. I was getting ready to say I don't know if Ed has much use for a horse, but I'm sure he'd appreciate the gesture. And he's been very forthcoming about sharing information and helping. And I bought some of his, some of the stuff he's done from Shapeways. These little things. Which I was shocked about Shapeways because because they're so meticulous and so small, detailed. You'd still have to buy them, but there's a whole lot of things I want to do, like these bridge shoes that we were working on. That there's no question you could print them.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's the one thing. I mean, I've got from this Thingiverse. I mean, they've got bridge bents, all the bridge stuff that I'm looking for. To put all my bridges together. Question is, what's one of them going to look like in plastic versus wood?
Yeah,
that's the question. So that's why I want to experiment a little bit, and if it doesn't look good, yeah.
Things people aren't thinking about that are so handy is Chris Healy designed a servo mount for those of us that use servos for turnout control and for animation on the layout. That's an easy thing to be able to print yourself, but it will cost you $0.25 in material and a few minutes on the printer, but would cost you $5 or $8 or $10 to buy. Or throttle pockets, or there's so many things that are structural, or jigs. Like if you're going to build those trestle bits and you want to build them out of wood, print a jig.
Right. Yeah.
Or dance a jig or whatever.
Yeah, because all my bridges, I mean, none of them are bigger than 8 inches on the bents that I need. So, I mean, this would be perfect. The whole thing would fit on the bed. So.
Yeah, as far as jigs go, you could break them up into pieces and then put them together.
Yeah, that too.
Well, Mr. Hawks, are you there? Yeah, I guess he stepped out. How about Troy? You still with us? Oh no, he dropped out, didn't he?
Yeah, he dropped out.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on, Troy. Where you go away for?
Yeah.
He's come along nice. He's close to running all the way top to bottom.
Yeah, he's getting there. I guess I'll take this time right here to kind of toot my horn a little bit.
Uh-oh.
I'm back.
All right, well, you're going to have to wait a minute now. I'm fixing to toot my horn.
Okay.
Now, I went out to the store yesterday and got there, and one of the volunteers was fixing to leave. And he comes up to me. He says, "Hey, I didn't know you're a star, a worldwide star." I said, "I didn't know it either." He said, "Yeah, we had a customer comes in here. It's a guy from Japan. He comes over here about maybe twice a year, and he always goes up to the hobby shop, and he spends a little bit of money there. But it turns out he come in, and he was asking for me because he thought I worked there. And they figured out that it wasn't John, the volunteer, that was telling me this. they told him I didn't work there. I was just a volunteer. I come in on Wednesday nights and work on the layout. But he said that he was hoping I'd been there, so he wanted to meet me because he looks forward to all the shows we do. He watches every one of them. So that felt good. So anybody out there, if you do make it here, you do make it over at Trainmaster Mall. So just ask them to give me a call. If I'm not too far away, I'll definitely come by the store, meet you. We'll go have a cup of coffee or something. Mr. Hawks. I'm done tooting my horn now.
Yeah, I'll come by, but you got to buy me a donut too.
I don't do donuts. In fact, I don't even do desserts. Hardly.
I only do desserts.
Well, you made a post. You want to tell us what your goal that you set and you've met probably about 4 days early?
Did I make a post?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, well,
About your progress on the yard and the helix.
yeah, my goal was to get my helix connected to, get my staging connected to the helix and the helix connected to my main level. And I just wanted to be able to run trains by January 1st. And Wednesday night, I managed to get my trains running all the way up, and it was great to see it working. No problems. At one point, I was scared because I had a loco pulling 15 cars, and I think on the second turn, basically everything stopped. The wheels were spinning. So I asked a question to Andy about how many cars can a locomotive pull. I said about 10, 12. So I removed 3 cars and everything was perfect. So yeah, I'm on vacation until the 2nd.
Oh, that was good. No, I was reading Sparky's comment. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And all the railroads have had to solve that problem as well. Like we were talking about on that hangout a couple days ago, is they've all had to come up with some scale of some number of cars per powered axle or something is typical.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least my cars are running. My trains are running. I mean, I could just watch them go up and down the helix, and into the staging and back up. But I can't go much further than maybe a foot once I've come out of the helix because I've got no power yet on the top part.
You got you got like most of or all of your track work laid on the top deck?
Yeah, most of it, but nothing's wired. You know how much I like wiring, eh?
Don't we all? That's the least favorite thing of all model railroaders. And I'm an electrical engineer and don't love the wiring part.
Especially when you do a mistake. Like, I think I was telling Scott about it. Is my helix wasn't wired, and of course I had to go inside the helix and start wiring. And noticed that, like, I've put a baseboard around my helix so that the trains wouldn't fall.
Sure.
So that gave me 2.5 inches to put my hand in between to be able to solder wires on the tracks.
Oh, that's rough.
Oh, tell me about it. And there's no way I was able to go on the back side because it's against the wall. So that took a long time. Instead of taking, I don't know, let's say 5 minutes to wire, Now it was taking me like 25 minutes or 30 minutes just to, first of all, to pass the, what do you call it? The welding stick so that I wouldn't get burned or anything. If you're gonna do a helix, might as well wire layer by layer.
Absolutely. I think I figured out why you don't like wiring. You're making it harder on yourself than you have to, and it already is not fun. So
Yeah, and especially I had double tracks to wire, so. But it's all wired, and it's working. So starting next year, I intend to finish the top part where my wife's office was. Here, I'll just show you if I can.
sure.
Hold on. Okay, see my staging at the bottom? Well,
Yep.
that's completed. So now I just have to do the top to connect this part to, not much, to around here.
And that's all you like, to having a loop around the top deck of your layout.
Say that again?
Is that all that you lack in having a complete loop of track work up on the top
Yep.
deck of the layout?
Yep. Well, I'm gonna have to, turn it more. Basically everything is done up to here. So there's not much to be done. I gotta build a lift out here and then come around.
Well, sure.
So that should be done, I hope, by March. Because I'm going to continue doing wiring.
That's part of the problem with wiring for our layouts, is it takes so much, and it's time consuming, and it's not any fun, so you don't get too excited about coming home to run wire. So
Well, I gotta say though, when I saw my trains run, I was glad that my wiring was done. I was happy. I go, okay, I gotta do more wiring so I could have more tracks running. But I gotta wait for that cable between the boxes there, the J12.
RJ12, yep.
The RJ12, it's coming in probably Tuesday or Wednesday. So if I want to be able to hook up other parts of the layout.
Yeah, the prof says no to your lift out. He says, come on, limbo.
Limbo.
I've got a knot under on my layout. It's not a lift out, but I am elevationally challenged, let's say. So I'm not too tall. So this at eye level, I just barely duck my head a little bit, and I can come in, and I much prefer that. But when I build the bottom deck, I will have to have a lift out. But I've been fascinated with what I see Ken Patterson do using neodymium magnets. So
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
that just seems like I built them with offset hinges years ago, with offset cabinet hinges, so it would kind of pick up and lift away to clear the track. And that worked, but it's really hard to adjust the alignment of. And with those magnets, you just set it in there, roughly manipulate it, align it to so that the rails align, and you just adjust it each time and take it out. It's no problem. But thanks for that, Jimmy. By the way, I
Just
can't argue with you though.
get you a motorized creeper.
Well, I mean, I was a member of a club, and it was a 2-deck layout, but the bottom deck was, I don't know, chest height, somewhere, relatively low, for me anyway. And it was, but we had to get into the workshop at the back, you had to go under that section. So we had an office chair, with no back on it, and you just plop down there and wheel your butt under the thing. And, enough bumps in the head and enough, enough boxes of Band-Aids, and you realize that's a good idea. So.
Yeah.
AJ says take a section of floor out so you can walk down under it. I could about do that actually, but it's one thing that my wife lets me in here, but I doubt I could do that. What you got? Oh, is that? Tell us about that thing.
That's not the rabbit.
I thought we were hunting rabbits.
Yeah. I got it Tuesday. I should have known when the package was already opened up to take a better look at it. I guess this must be the hair. I'm missing 2 connectors. It's only got the connectors at each end. It doesn't have the ones here on the sides, on each side for the tortoise machines.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the output. So guess what I'm doing tomorrow? Making a phone call. But that's what I did. I ordered the rabbit. Wabbit starts with a W because we've got a center line on the layout. It's essentially a straight track, and it's got 2 reverse loops, one at each end. So I guess you might call that a trolley line. And yeah, and since one of them's up on the upper elevation, and that turnout is all the way to the back of the layout, which you cannot reach. And we were talking about it here on the Hangouts. What was it? Yeah, you're the one that told me about the Wabbit, wasn't it? Because the dual control decoder.
Yeah, we looked at that together.
Yeah, and that way it'll operate because it has a auto throw.
Yep.
You don't have to do any. Well, you have to do a little bit of programming, not much, but you cut a trigger rail, which is 1/8 of an inch long, or in your rail, just got 2 gaps to make a trigger rail, and then you can. What it does when the engine comes across, it sends a signal back to the card. That goes to the tortoise. If tortoise is already in position, nothing happens. But if it's in the opposite position, it'll fire the tortoise, move the points, so when the engine comes around, you won't derail going against your switch points.
Then it's got a timer, so it could return that turnout after some short period of time back to another position.
Yeah.
Oh, and be good, Johnny. The boss is here.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah. But, it does a lot of different things. Let's see here. I mean,
DCC Specialties is where that comes from, and they've got a lot of they kind of solve a lot of unique problems with relatively easy to deal with circuitry.
Yeah, but they won't sell directly to you. You can't buy directly from DCC Specialties.
Yeah, you've got to go through somebody.
Yeah, I had this one. I got it down there in Florida. But you got auto throw timer, auto return, smart route, where you can set up routes to where, when you pick the route, it'll automatically set everything for you. You do have a dispatcher override. You got a lock block protection, locked route control, and then a switch speed control, so you can control the speed of the tortoise too. Then you got default ops, whatever that is.
Then what's that last one?
Smart default ops.
Okay.
Upon power up, Wabbits return to either the last position or a program default.
Yeah, and Prof actually asked you about does it return back so that it navigates the loop in the same clock or clockwise direction?
Yes.
But I think we had talked about just letting it stay in the same position, so each time it comes back to that loop, it navigates it the opposite direction. It just toggles back and forth.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to do. That way, train to be running different directions each time. Yeah, when it goes around the loops or whatever.
which is easier, but also probably more interesting.
But you can hook up push buttons or toggle switches to it. Yeah, use it to operate semaphore gates. And it says automates reverse loop turnouts too. So
Hey, boss, your mic's on.
got a lot of features. All right, Newcastle, I got this.
Yeah, that should be going in the track to the right-hand side, looping and coming out off the left. Where the switch points are, the last position, it would go back into that loop on the left side and come around to the right side and throw your turnout and come in, and then it keep reversing back and forth like that.
And you can fix that. If you want it to just go one route, the Wabbit supports a timed return. So you could say, after it's cleared the turnout, wait 10 seconds and flip it back. But for that layout that's at the hobby shop there, I think it's more interesting to let it navigate it in different directions each time.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to let it do.
Hey, Andy, I got a question. Is this just like the what's the manufacturer? It's the company that makes those the relay sensors. You know, it goes down along the tracks and it follows the train. I forget the company's name though. They make, I think, a product just like that for meats, like automatic meats.
Yeah, and there's several companies that make similar products. As we were talking about it, okay, so I actually got Johnny into this mess because I was down at the hobby shop with him one day and we were talking, and I said, you could automate that with a couple optical sensors, one on each leg of the turnout, and if it hit that optical sensor, it would attempt to throw the turnout into that route. So, and we kept thinking about, it has to detect the way the train travels. There's some complexity there. We weren't talking about going, a full-blown custom programmed Arduino or anything. We were just going to hardwire a simple circuit or design one. And after a little bit of working, we found the Wabbit that does all of the same jobs with protection, good control, good DCC integration, a well-supported product, and it's pretty inexpensive. I don't remember how much it was, but it was pretty cheap for what it was. So.
Does the what was it? Are you guys going to hook up signals to it?
Newcastle, you need to talk a little softer, please. But no, we're not going to hook signals up to it.
It's just a display layout, which is exactly where this thing is perfect for. Is that it's a hobby shop display layout. It just needs to run. It's not operational in any serious way. It's just moving trains. It's moving scenery.
Yeah.
I think there's some way on that same board that you can do an auto reverse without the switches, the turnouts actually moving.
Yeah, that's what it said. It had auto reverse on it.
Point to point. Yeah.
Yeah, and they make a circuit that shuttles, that does that reversing route, and that's great for talking about trolley lines or like Dave's little ON18. I know me and Dave talked about this before too, is all that little ON18 having a circuit, a shuttle circuit. So it goes to one side of the little straight section of track he's got that's 15 feet or something long, and it sits there for 10 minutes, and then it travels back real slowly. It sits there. That's pretty decent. But at the hobby shop where Johnny hangs is much more class 1 railroading, trains, of 10 or 15 cars navigating the layout. So
yeah, the visitors might be interested in watching signals go up and down when the train switches, throws the switches, just seeing a little action with some lights or something.
Yeah. I ain't got that far yet, Josh. So yeah, I'm learning all this too as I go, but yeah, they wanted to keep the layout pretty simple, not have a whole lot to it for maintenance reasons too. So,
well, this layout is only what, a year and a half old.
Try almost 5 years old.
Wow!
From the time you put the first board on it.
Yep.
Where have I been? Sleep somewhere.
Well, you got to remember the target audience too. 90% of the people who walk in there is going to be a parent with a kid that's getting started in the hobby, and they just want to see trains run.
Yeah.
The quite serious modelers, the guys that would know anything about a signal, that even knows that signals exist and do something. Most of those guys are not going to stand there and watch trains run on a hobby shop layout. That's just not,
Now, once we do get to a point, I guess what we will do is open up to Wednesday night to maybe doing some kind of operations or something. I know I just got myself in trouble with Josh.
If you ever need a guy to design the operating plan, you can just talk with me.
Okay, I'll do that.
It's a simple layout, but it would be completely adequate for some entry people into the hobby to come by and for 30 minutes show them basic operations where that's a really good thing to see actually done to understand. So there, I could see the relevance there.
Yeah, because we do have, let's see, a couple of industries. I think we've got the mining company up on the upper level. So you got to be able to get cars in and out of there because stubbed in. There's only one way in, same way out. Then we do have the yard also. And we do have some switching down there because we do have a power company. We got the REA warehouse down in the yard there. And we got a couple of other small industries too in there. So
yeah, you could always put a train on like an automatic on like a just built up like a through train, and then have a local go out. They have to clear out into the sidings.
Well, that's what I do.
And
with
switch industries.
Yeah, for new people, I'd set the trolley line up for continuous run. That way, when they're moving their trains around, they'll confuse them when that one comes running by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to do it. We used to do it with springs. The same thing as you're basically doing. We used to do it years ago at a hobby shop when I was a teenager. I worked at. We had spring switches, so you would, basically it would force the turnout to stay in one position, but it would allow any adequately weighted rolling stock to roll through the turnout without it derailing the equipment. So you could have done that, except for the fact that you have tortoises connected. And what I really like is the prof a few minutes ago, what his comment said, tortai. So we can't say tortoises anymore. We now know that we are talking about tortai.
Yeah. Let's see. I think North Star. Yeah, the Wabbit. The price of it on the DCC Specialties website is $29.95. I found a store in Florida, online store. I bought this one for $29.95. I mean $27.95. Plus, I think it was about $3-4 shipping because they used a bubble pack mailer and sent it U.S. mail.
Yeah, it's a small board and fit the envelope basically. So
yeah.
Can't remember the name of it. There was a shop that an online store that specialized in DCC that sold just electronics. They sold decoders, NCE, Digitrax, etc., and they were carrying the DCC specialty stuff as well. But
DCC trains out of Cincinnati.
Well, I hadn't thought about the Crazy Russian, but he's close. Yeah, he's a character. I like him. I like watching his videos. He's funny, but and he's close to me too, so I wouldn't care at all to go up there. And he does carry, pretty much everything. So
Yeah,
he carries, some really advanced stuff like Roku and
all that stuff.
Right, and the ESU system, which I think if money is no object, which I don't know what that would be like, but if money were no object, that system from ESU is just absolutely incredible.
Was that sound system, Andy?
Which one? Which system?
The one you're talking about, ESU?
Oh, so ESU has ESU. Most of us talk about ESU Loc South, and you normally hear us in this community, and probably this is probably common amongst all U.S. modelers. We talk about ESU Loc Sound as a decoder manufacturer. That's what they do. We talk about their sound effects, etc. But there's not much credibility or credence given to the ESU DCC system. Because it's more than it's DCC plus. It's not DCC plus plus like this thing I built on an Arduino that's popular, but it's a DCC with some additionals on it. So it is proprietary. You can't just use, you can't interoperate your ESU system with Digitrax equipment, etc. That's not going to work. You've got to use ESU in its entirety. But boy, it's an incredible system with touchscreen controls, and you could build that capability. You could use iPads and JMRI and to get the same capability. But the ESU system, like the prof's talking about on here too in the chats, the ESU Mobile Control 2 system is everything that you could do with DCC plus JMRI plus some Y throttle or engine driver throttles running on iPhones or Android devices. All of those things that you would have to build yourself, you could just buy it from ESU and run it, and it's great. But it's a bit proprietary and it's a bit expensive. But that ECOS system is just, it is really something to strive for. We should at least be familiar with its capabilities and think about how you can do that with your Digitrax or NCE system in combination with JMRI, because it's incredible. And if you look at the chat, the profs dropped a link in there to the ECOS, actually a few links, but a link to the ECOS system from ESU, and it's just it's incredible.
Yeah. How you doing, Bill? Big Bill.
I'm good. I'm very good, actually. I'm hanging in there, just watching, waiting for the ball to drop in Times Square.
Yeah. You still got another day or two.
Well, I'm actually right here at Times Square as we're speaking. I reserved my spot. So I have this, I'm using the Wi-Fi off the NASDAQ building. So it's pretty comfortable and cozy. I use Starbucks bathroom.
Did you bring a tent, brother, since you're going to be there?
No. I'm just, hold on. There's this bum urinating next to me. Hey, cut it out. I'm on live here.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, but I'm doing well, thank you. Hope everybody's Christmas was a good one. You got what you wanted.
Absolutely wonderful. It always is.
Yeah.
Good.
Hope you had a good one too.
Yeah, I did. Very quiet. Very quiet.
Georgianne got a new pack of switches for you.
No, she didn't. She actually bought me a. What did she get me? She got me a Walters Proto GP30 with sound and everything.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
Hey, Bill. Sorry, I gotta remember to not speak not so loud. Bill, did you ever have an operating session?
As a matter of fact, we did.
How did it go?
It went. We had a few glitches, but nothing out of the ordinary, and it went well. We did it for about 2.5 hours.
Everything worked good, and what was the glitches?
Well, the gentleman that came and worked wasn't too familiar with the layout, with my layout, so there was some things that were a little confusing to him in the beginning. But once he got the hang of it, he, it went real smooth, and he realized what was going on. And he worked in we did a broad kind of like working the whole thing, and then we kind of both determined at the same time that it would be best if we worked in, one section like the staging yard, bringing the trains out into the regular yard, and then working the yard and then bringing them out to the different industries. So that worked out pretty good, and he got a better understanding of how the trackage was and the system, and he had to get used to the DCC NEC thing that I was using. So, but it worked pretty good. We had a good time.
That's what's nice about having town maps outside your layout. They get to see the track design, and another thing is I do have a track chart on my little road book I have. Like it's more of a how-to.
Right. Well, as we were working on operating, we were also, I was doing a lot of writing in my clipboard on things to do and to get. One of the things I've come to determine was I need to get cup holders.
Yep, that's one thing. I have those too, and I also have job cards, and the cup holders are. Let me adjust my camera if I can get that to adjust so you guys can see it. Let me right there. See, those are my cup holders right there. The two.
Absolutely essential. Cup holders are absolutely essential.
Yep.
Putting coffee mugs on a track is not conducive for good operating.
Yeah, and the other main thing you definitely have to have for at least a waybill system: job cards. Job cards. Oh.
Yeah, get that. I can see that. Right. That. Let me clean my glasses off. It's coming in a little blurry.
Sorry.
Back up. Right there.
See, it just tells you the instructions, basics rules for the train, and the instructions how to do it, though not too strict that it's telling you everything to do, just to give you a helpful tip.
Right. Good point. Very good point.
Bill, I'd have to say that you could claim success then if your biggest complaint out of your op session was more cup holders, please. Then I think you got a pretty good job on your railroad, brother.
Yeah, we had there was a bit of trepidation, nervousness on my part, because this was like the first time we had gotten together. But
we all have that.
It was and my buddy, who is familiar with railroads and familiar with modeling, it was new for him as well. But once we got over the initial nervousness, and because he was my buddy was afraid he was going to break something, and I had to keep reassuring him that if he did, it's all plastic. It can be fixed. The layout, if most of you have seen my YouTube videos, it's up, and the fascia board is about ½ inch up, so the trains aren't going to come off the track. He was just afraid if he reached over, he was going to knock something down, and I said, listen, you're just going to add character to the catastrophe railroad. It's not going to in any shape, form, or way make it look any worse than it already is.
I love that name.
I'm just so happy that the train actually started up and it moved out, and it didn't. We had one derailment, and no, how many? I believe we had like a half dozen, but they were just due to switches not being thrown. We weren't paying attention to the switches being thrown. We were going against the switch, so we derailed. But other than that, once we got over the initial, and afterwards, we were having a cup of coffee, and we were discussing it, and it was we thought it was highly successful. He was very much impressed and very much happy and relieved that he didn't break anything, and he was happy the way it turned out. So
solve one way you can solve that problem with partly just try to figure out also the rule book saying you have to close the mainline switch. Though the other thing is around here, to make sure you know which is the main, they put green pins in the track, like a thumbtack, painted green and red. And
sounds like something I should do.
Yeah, or paint switch stands the target on the caboose industry throws too, on one side red, one side green.
It's kind of like your clearance post that you did. So I take it the Great Track Realignment Project, the Municipal Track Realignment Project for Kentucky Railroad at the end of the island went without incident.
Oh no, it went fairly well. The new curve actually turned out to be better than what was anticipated, and the train tracks really well now on it, and actually it's a true 24-inch radius now. So where I kind of like I fudged a little bit because I was in a hurry to get the track down. So I kind of like, it's like putting a round peg in a square hole. I was pushing it,
You can't force it.
No.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Here's the thumbtacks I use.
Okay.
See, thumbtacks, and I just paint them green and red.
All right.
And I put them right at the end of the turnout, like right at the 2 points. One green, one red.
Okay. Sounds like a great idea.
Or you could paint one side of the caboose ground throw green, one side red, whichever is the diversion and normal.
Okay. That works. One of the things we found out is on leaving the staging yard that the outer track, the radius is 18, but it doesn't track well for the big engines that I bought, the GPs and the ST70s. When it comes out on the outside rail, they don't track well. They kind of slip off.
AT's a little tough. They want to bind up.
Yeah.
I years ago had a small layout, and I took, I'm pretty sure I took a dribble tool and ground the flange off on the center axle of my 6 axles. So it only had 4 axles with flanges, and it would go around those 18-inch radius curves just fine.
Yeah, well, we immediately put in a train order. Red flagged it and train ordered, wrote it out, and we started coming in on we started leaving the yard on the bigger 6-axle trains from the inside loop. We could only leave the yard from the inside, from track onto track 2.
And that's pretty prototypical,
Yeah, and track 1 was designated for the switching engines and others. So everything was fast track quickly, and which was a good thing because we kind of did that on the fly. Spent about 15-20 minutes trying to figure out how we could, if we should take the track apart, but I was against that idea. So we just said, my buddy Jerry said, let's just make a train order. Not anything over 6 axles. Bigger trains can't go over that. Got to go out 2 track. Or if they fail to do that, someone's got to pee in a cup and do a breathalyzer, and write a report. So who wants to write reports?
I know. I actually originally started operating my layout with rec reports from the PNLE. I originally tried that. No, nobody liked it.
Listen, I'm pretty hardcore about doing things the right way and very prototypical and everything. You start writing up accident reports and try to get people in trouble, you're going to find a lot of people not wanting to run trains with you. So,
no, but it was good. We had a good experience. I enjoyed it. I'm still on the learning curve. I don't know, a lot of it. We did a real small operation, and we had a lot of, we had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and it was good and a good learning experience. So I'm looking forward to diving into it again.
Well, that's the measure of success. If you had a good time, that's success.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Whoa. Why do
Sorry.
you keep yelling at me, Josh?
Yeah, Josh, you got to remember a lot of us are on headphones.
Sorry, that's the new mic I got. I'm getting used to it. New headset.
Well, you should hang that mic on the door. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Josh. What's the question, son?
No, it's not a question, actually. I might be coming up to New York City about somewhere this year. Maybe
good.
April or something.
Great.
Now, if I might come over to operate. If you need another operator.
I would make a special day for that. Not a problem.
Yeah.
What part of New York City you coming to?
All over. It's kind of my aunt wants to go to New York City. She keeps saying she's gonna take me up to New York City one of these days.
Oh, okay. So give me a heads up if you're coming up. Give me a heads up. I'll give you my info. Get together. I'll give you the tour, the 65-cent tour.
Yeah, that was bad what I just did. I almost electrocuted myself.
That's
And that 65 cents. That's the good tour too. Everybody else I've heard's been getting offered the quarter tour. So
about 35 on
Right.
the average. The great tour is 65. That's where I take you to 59 Mott Street to the Chinatown to the restaurant.
You got heat in your basement?
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute, you moved it upstairs, didn't you?
What's that?
I said you moved your layout upstairs.
Oh yeah, that layout in the basement's no longer there.
Yeah.
Everything's up in the bedroom now.
All right, the professor's got my curiosity. He said take him to 2nd Avenue and 41st Street in Brooklyn. You have any idea what is there?
I absolutely do know what is there at 42nd Street and 2nd Avenue in Brooklyn. Actually, that's right down the block from my church, and there's a railroad down there. I keep meaning to photograph it and videotape it. There's actually a railroad that runs down there.
Yeah, he was saying here, look for the track curving through the corner of the building.
That is absolutely correct, Professor. I was down there the other day. There's right on the corner across the street from it is a towing company. And I was standing out there and looked at the tracks. In fact, my pastor was asking me about where these tracks were, and I actually told him this is where the South Brooklyn, the Transit Authority had the South Brooklyn Railroad. Ronnie's, that's correct. That's correct. That is correct. Ronnie's Automotive. That is correct. Yep.
for a guy from Australia, he's got a pretty good idea about your neighborhood. I'm getting nervous.
Professor, you're absolutely right. If you come right down the block on 2nd Avenue is Costco. If you come out of Costco and come down 2nd Avenue, there's an actual tire shop that set up business there because people who don't know the neighborhood run through that at 35 miles an hour, and the tracks are still exposed, and they have blowouts. And that guy on the corner, right in the middle of the block's the tire guy. That's why he opened his business there. But yes, you're absolutely right. I will take some photos and I will take a video of it. I've been meaning to, because our church is right up the block on 40th Street and 3rd Avenue, right under the Kiwanis Expressway.
It's a pity that the track through that building is out of service.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it actually goes in there's some scaffolding outside. I was looking the other day, and it actually goes right into the building, right onto the side of the building, and then it comes down. And then there's a long track that goes right down to 1st Avenue, down by the docks, a long track that goes straight down the block. But in recent weeks, I noticed that somebody has been dumping asphalt on the thing, but they're not doing a good job. So I know it's not the city or a private contractor. I think someone's just dumping some excess asphalt that they got in their trucks onto the track to make it smoother. But it's a whole configuration of switches and everything right in the middle of the avenue. It's pretty interesting.
I've seen a picture of that somewhere. I can't remember where, but must be pretty infamous because I've seen pictures.
The second, down right next to Costco, the New York, New Jersey line runs right there. You can see the 2 diesels parked in there. They're painted a pale blue with red ends on it. It says NY and NJ.
Is that an independent operating? That's not part of the transit authority or the port authority, right?
Years ago, it was the New York City Transit Authority. You can Google South Brooklyn Railroad. There's an actual, and as you see on my my avatar, that SBK, that's part of the South Brooklyn Railroad that operated. That's actually down where the professor's talking about. That photo was taken, and it was one of their only. It was a subsidiary of the New York City Transit Authority, and it actually made money for them. And they would haul freight to the Brooklyn Terminal company. Brooklyn Terminal, that was down there. There were a series of like 6 or 7, 8 buildings that were designed to take freight. And now they've been turned into like Costco's, and now one of the buildings is a federal penitentiary.
So what did the New York Transit Authority decide they didn't like making money and just decided to focus on passenger, or what?
After they got out of the, what happened was when they got it, they used to get shipment of cars from New Jersey, from St. Louis Car Company. They would ship them up that through the thing. They found it was a lot cheaper to put them on flatbed trucks, one car at a time, for some reason, and have them moved that way.
So they were bringing them over on floats.
No more, and that's what that train. That's what that was used for, to bring those over.
They were bringing them over on floats before, right?
Right. They bring them on the floats to the Brooklyn side, and then the South Brooklyn rail diesel engines would pull them off the float onto the track, and then they bring them into the subway system. You'd cross Second Avenue and through traffic, and then bring them into the subway system, and then they would bring them up to Coney Island Yard.
I think any of us could get the appeal of modeling that. I mean, float operations fascinate me. Something about, I mean, it's a perfect staging yard. It's a perfect interchange. You can bring any. It's a great, modeling floats is such a great thing.
Yeah, Prof was talking about that was less risk of graffiti on brand new cars.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can't seem to stop that. I don't see freight cars anywhere that aren't graffitied up. So.
Yeah, we see a bunch of them come across at the store that have a lot of graffiti on them. I don't know how much of it really originates down here, but.
You crazy Georgia boys. Just tagging everything, it'll hold still.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of the car carriers got a lot of graffiti on them.
Well, I cannot for the life of me understand why Tropicana painted all those mechanical refrigerators white. I mean, it's like giving them a canvas. I mean, I understand the environmental reason why, but
yeah, keep them cooler.
Right. It just seems like such a temptation that nobody would be able to pass on if you painting them white.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're looking at the economics of making it easier on the cooling systems.
Johnny, here's a photo of the locomotive going through the building.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's so cool.
Hang on, let me get that up full screen. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
New York Cross Harbor.
Coast Harbor. Okay.
I think it's in S4 or S3 or S4.
Now, could you imagine being right in there in that big space? People right above there on the next floor working.
Yeah.
Once you get right under it, lay down on the horn.
I can bet that's been done a few times.
Yeah, that shot right there, that's coming from, that's going right down the block there, straight down that block. And there's also, there's a warehouse to the left of that, and that track curves right into that warehouse. But yeah, that's the building. Right now, there's all scaffolding up around that building. I would say this picture was taken in the 70s, late 70s. That's a great picture.
So none of those tracks are being used anymore, huh?
No, they're all like right here in the foreground where you see the picture. Somebody had dumped some asphalt, fresh asphalt on there. Because everybody gets their tire. If you don't know the area, you come screaming. Because what happens is before this track, the streets are paved. So if you don't know the area and you come down there at 35, and especially at night when it's desolate, you just come screaming down there at 45 miles an hour, and you hit this, your tires are going to get torn up. Because they're not maintained very well.
Speed brake.
Ultimate. Yeah, you know what I got to do? I really seriously, I got to remember this shot and take this from the same perspective now, with the tracks in the foreground. This is where you can see it. It's really a nice shot.
Yeah, Professor said you could trace the picture by the visible cobblestones.
Cobblestones are still there.
Yeah, later pictures showed tarmac breaking up, revealing the patches of the older cobblestones.
Well, yeah, you can see the in the front right here, in the forefront, you can see some tar.
Yeah.
See some paving.
Yeah, the prof dropped some YouTube links I just watched. Just fascinating stuff on the South Brooklyn. A couple videos. What was so interesting, they're in a subway tunnel in the second video he posted, and the guys are standing on the subway platform, and a bunch of freight cars get shoved by a diesel. That would upset your sense of where you are for sure.
Yeah.
Bill, the date on the photo is May 30th, 1992.
Oh, 1992. I was working then. I was on the job.
I had just moved to Bay Ridge a couple of months earlier.
So that's really not all that old.
Somebody's trapped at my Come on. Are you sure he's the one? Am I sure? I'll bet you $1 billion too. I know it's on, but I'll wait with my own team.
Sounds like Jimmy Durante's on our show.
Oh, let me. I'm sorry. My wife is watching TV.
Yeah, Professor said Alco S4 number 11.
Oh yeah, the one pushing through the subway past the platforms. That's an interesting shot. Those are interesting videos for you guys. Go watch those. They're pretty interesting.
And the one in my photo is an Alco S1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was talking about another picture. Had an all black S4 curving through this building.
Oh yeah.
He said that's what inspired the Brooklyn 3 a.m. layout.
Yeah, small railroad he built, which you guys should all go Google that. Look for a link to that. It's the only model railroad I've ever seen in my life that was built to wet, rainy conditions. It's like, and I'll look for his comments to in the chat to correct my assumptions, but it's like he gloss coated the entire layout. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. Everybody, we talk about how few modelers model winter, which I'm thinking about converting to. Yeah, I've been talking about it for a year, but I'm thinking about, ripping the green off the trees and going ahead and modeling winter like I'd like to. But the idea of modeling rain and modeling a city scene, all gloss, it's incredible.
Hey, Bill, is there anything left in the old 25th Street terminal?
25th Street in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a 36th Street terminal. There's a 38th Street yard and 9th Avenue.
Yeah, there was a 25th Street terminal, had a coal dump.
Oh, that's actual 38th Street yard. It's located on 25th Street. Don't ask me how.
Okay. Any of that left there yet? Or
yeah. That's the diesel. That's where the work trains come out of. The diesel work trains.
Okay.
Yeah, Professor has got the comment. Straight up, spray bombed. Gloss over the scene. It took a lot of guts to hit the first spray nozzle, especially as we, as modelers, always try to make things look matte and not glossy.
I suspected that's what he had done, because I have never seen, we talk about all want to do something a little unique in a certain way. There's a couple things that have just rarely been done, and absolutely, immeasurably rarely been done correctly. Winter, snow, rainy, wet weather, etc. That's why I was so fascinated when Gina was talking about doing black backdrops and modeling everything at nighttime. Just the idea of doing something so fascinatingly different, like what the prof did with Brooklyn 3 a.m. It's so original.
Yeah. Well, anybody got any New Year's resolutions as far as mile railroading goes? Got any new goals for next year?
Yeah, getting started online.
Generally, I would say that's New Year's resolutions are like setting yourself up for failure. So I'm going to stay clear of those. But I had a goal some months ago, to get trades running just in a circle. And to Ralph, if he gets to watch this, thanks to Ralph for growling at me and saying you'll never get it done because I was going to prove him wrong or die trying at 3 a.m. trying to get trades running. So, but I am absolutely by end of February going to have trades running from staging out around the layout back to staging, so I can genuinely automate. And my 2017 goals are machines. So I bought my CNC router, and Dave beat me to a 3D printer, but I'm going to have one of those this year for sure. So 2017 is going to be a lot about figuring out all this software and stuff like Sparky was talking about. So
got yourself a learning curve going now.
Yeah, but once you learn one of them, once you learn, basic vector design, whether it's flat for CNC work or 3D printed or I'm gonna buy a Cricut because I'm just fascinated by this paper stuff, and thanks to Lloyd or Hawks Railroad, he sent me some paper material. It's a combination of Ed, talking about all the paper products, and Ralph talking about paper, and Miles has talked about paper for a while. And even did a show a year or two ago about paper structures. Those guys have sold me on giving paper a second shot. But Lloyd sent me some samples of some textured or embossed paper brick sheet material that is just incredible and incredibly cheap. So I'm gonna buy a Cricut, do some of that stuff. So tools. I'm gonna be figuring out a bunch of that software crap.
Cardstock too.
Yeah, cardstock. And this paper, when you say paper and you're talking about this stuff, that's kind of misleading because it's a really heavy paper if you want to call it paper. It's a stock.
Wire more tortoises in and get signaling up.
Tortoise. I just love that. That's so much fun. So tortoises and signaling with your relays. How far have you come along?
I got half the district. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 signals working. One block district. I still gotta finish up all that, and I'm actually decided because I like tortoises now, and I need to standardize all my switches, to make it easier for operators. I'm going all tortoises, every single switch.
So do you have a signal that's switchable and operatable by the relay now?
Yeah.
Can you show us what of them operating and what it does and how you did it, not how you did it, but how does it play? How does it operate? How does it function?
Okay. The camera's on right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the control panel. This is a direction switch. It pretty much works like the railroads. You set that direction, it goes to that position. What that signal? I do not have block detection working yet. I gotta order some bridge rectifiers. So this is different directions. It's pretty much like the railroads back in the day. If they lost power or lost a indication from a jump or trigger, it would go red. And here's the tortoises. It's a 4-point toggle switch, and when you throw it, it throws the tortoises, and it's a trigger wire to a relay that throws the tortoises instead of toggle switch.
All we're seeing is your back.
Sorry. And it's just throwing this. I'll show the webcam from here. You can see the highway now. And wait a minute, let me adjust the camera. I'm getting used to this. And I gotta get an extended cord. Wait a minute. Let me pull this.
You're probably gonna have to tilt it down some.
Yeah, I'm always zoomed in all the way.
Yeah, on the turnout just before the control tower.
It was before that signal right over there, and I'm having a problem. I have a loose connection with the wire in there. That's why the one LED is not as bright. I have a loose connection I gotta fix because after taking them off so much, it's loosened up the connection. When that tortoise is thrown, it goes to that, and then the relay throws. If I go the opposite direction, it throws up there, way up top. There's a signal head up on the diagram, and now it shows a slow signal because I just changed it the other direction. If I throw the tortoise up there, it throws the opposite direction. If I throw the tortoise way in the back corner, and there's no signal, there's only a signal on the diverging route coming into the main. If I throw that, and if I'm in this position, it goes all signals red, and I can put it immediately in red, everything, and throw it back. And it's all by relays that trip. It's all by, if the power sensors into the trigger, it gets a green wire. If the relay is not powered, it's red. It's not triggered.
Those are additional signals up on the wall?
Yeah, those are different signals. There's different control points, and yep, they're going to be all a bunch of signals up on the wall, and they're all going to show diverging, clear. See, I have for right now, and I'm running manual block still. I have town maps on the side of the layout, and you can see one right above there, and there's one on the fascia here and one on there, and those are town maps, and they say the blocks, and we just had little signs like this sign right. That one won't come out because I glued that. Though, see the block signs. This is PRR Block 2, and then we had a track warrant that you checked off. You went to the next block. Now we're going to have the signals in with that system.
Nice.
Yeah. Pensy signals are going to be the ones on the layout. Though the signals that are going to be on the town maps will be I call the modern style. It's the traffic light.
There's some of the signals you need, Andy.
Yeah, I've got a build similar, but none of mine are on signal bridges or cantilever towers or anything. They just they're all on masts. They did do a single mast with a deck at the top of the mast and 2 towers, but it's still off to the side. So I gotta build all that junk, and it's
Bill's got a picture up here of the same building with the.
Yeah, that's the same building. That's what's in front of it right now. See the track down the street at 2nd Avenue? There's the curve that goes right through, right there.
next time I go up there, I've got to go by and see that because I've seen a few pictures of that. That's just fascinating architecturally on its own, plus the railroad.
See, there's the track. Can you see the track going down the street?
Oh, yeah.
And then you can see where it comes out of that side building where it curves into the switch there.
Yeah.
If you come around. Go straight down. Here's the street. Here's the track. There's 2 tracks right there. It crosses over.
Once upon a time, that was actually a double track through that building.
Yes.
I put a link for a YouTube video in there. Anybody know where that's at? There's another one where the Amtrak exit train is going through a building. It's kind of wild.
When I close my eyes, I see you are never outside.
Is this the route that goes down toward the docks?
Yes.
And how far away would that be to the Navy Yard?
Navy Yard's a couple miles north.
U.S. Navy has a large yard facility. Like
Had.
It I guess that's basically in Manhattan, right? I mean, it's on the peninsula.
No, it was in Brooklyn, but they closed them down a few years ago. They still have a few docks there, but nothing big. Used to have a big dry dock in there.
Well, I tell you what, guys. I think what we're going to do is go ahead and shut this one down. We've had a pretty good discussion tonight. We're getting close to the end of the year, so I'm sure everybody's getting their lawn chairs ready to go out somewheres and watch a ball drop on Saturday night.
There's no ball drops in rural Missouri.
Well, you
There's
can always
nothing in rural Missouri.
You can always just go out on the front porch, get a blanket, sit in a lawn chair with the TV, and watch the ball drop, mate, like you're in New York Times Square.
I could go out the back porch and shoot up some Milk bottles, empty milk jugs.
Yeah, what's scary about where I live, these guys get out and start shooting their guns.
Yeah, instead of shooting toward the ground, they point them in the air, not knowing where the lead's going to land.
They forget gravity. What goes up must come down.
Well, I know to stay inside, so I really don't worry too much about that. I just don't want them leveling it out.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, North Star. I really appreciate that. He told me to take the rest of the year off and don't come back until next year. Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wind this one on up and make the announcement again that next year, this is only for Tuesday night presentations, the Tuesday night shows. A lot of the staff members have day jobs, so the time period that we've been doing the shows at was getting to be a little bit of a problem, and also viewers were asking if we could possibly do a little bit earlier show. So I thought about it and decided can't afford a raise, so I'll change the time of the show. So the Tuesday shows in 2017, starting in 2017, will be aired at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So be sure and check your time zones for the time there. That's just the Tuesday shows for right now. There's nothing been discussed about the rest of the shows as of yet. So just want to make sure everybody knows that, so they won't be tuning in at the end of the Tuesday night show next year. And let me do a transition here. I want to say keep checking in on the YouTube modelbuilders.com website for all the latest news and info on the Tuesday presentations, the eMag, and the live show schedules. The live show is once every month. The eMag is bi-monthly, and the Tuesday presentations are twice a month now. That'll be the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday of the month. And Thursday's General Hangout is each week as well. You can go to the website and sign up for the eMag, be notified when it comes out. JD and his crew do a great job on that, and they've got a pretty good sized magazine that they put out now every month. And it does come out approximately the middle of the month. Got a new one coming out in January, so be looking for that. They're working on another good issue there for everybody. You can go to the website. There you'll find the schedules for the Tuesday shows, the Saturday live shows, and also you can sign up for the eMag, as I said. One more time, the Tuesday shows time will be changing. It's going to be 1 hour earlier starting in 2017. So Tuesday shows will be 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We've got a new show coming in. It will start on February the 7th. And it's called The Fine Scale Build. It'll be put on by Miles Hale, Andy Crawford, and Barry Rozier. They're going to be building wood kits. They're starting out with the C&O sectional house as the first kit. So when you're watching, be sure and put in the comments what you think about the show. We need to know, like to know, and let us know. They've already picked 3 other kits to do after that, but if the viewers would like to see a different kit, put that in the comments, and they'll take a look at it. If it's something that's not going to be too complicated to do on the show, then that's what they'll probably go with, because this show here is to show people that doing wood kits is not that hard, And starting out simple, showing you what tools are being used, what techniques. Having 3 people there, you'll see 3 different ways. It being a live build, you will be able to ask questions in the chat at the time of the build, and they'll be glad to answer the questions for you. We're working on getting some really good shows next year for the live show also on Saturday. So check your time zones. Tuesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. Thursday and the Saturday live shows for right now are still 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. And all our shows are recorded. You can go YouTube Model Builders. We do have playlists set up for each one of our shows. And so if you missed a show, not a problem. It'll be the show, be the top of the list, be the latest show. You can go watch the show, get caught back up again. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you had a good Christmas, and wish everybody a good 2017. And we will say good night for now, and we shall see you next year. Goodbye, everybody.